J.J. Watt is a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and 2-time sack leader in the league. Watt has been regarded as one of the most impactful defensive presences in the league today. Since his debut in 2011, Watt has been arguably one of the best defensive ends in the league. But back in the 2011 NFL Draft, Watt was selected with the 11th overall pick. Today we're going to talk about the 10 players drafted before Watt and how their careers are going so far. Before we get to know the picks before Watt, let's take a look at Watt's journey to the NFL. Watt attended Pewaukee High School, where he was a 4-year letter winner in football. In his senior year, he was selected for First Team All-State. He earned the Woodland Conference Player of the Year award and First Team All-State, All-County, All-Area, and All-Conference selections as tight end and defensive end. During his senior season, he was also named the team's MVP. That season, Watt accumulated a total of 399 receiving yards, 26 catches, and 5 touchdowns. Coming out of high school, Watt was only a 2-star recruit and wasn't ranked with the tight ends nor the defensive ends of his class. Watt would eventually receive a scholarship to Central Michigan, where he would play tight end. During his time at Central Michigan, Watt played in 14 games and accumulated only 77 yards and 8 receptions. After a suggestion to move to guard at Central Michigan, Watt decided to forego his starting spot and walk on to the University of Wisconsin, where he would play defensive end. At the University of Wisconsin, Watt was redshirted for the 2008 season and was named Wisconsin's Scout Team Player of the Year. In Watt's 2009 season, he played in 13 games. Watt finished the season with 32 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 15.5 tackles for a loss, and 5 passes defended. In the 2010 season, Watt played in 13 games and led the team in tackles for a loss, quarterback hurries, blocked kicks, and forced fumbles. He finished the season with 42 tackles, 21 tackles for a loss, 7 sacks, 9 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles. He earned the Ronnie Lott Impact Trophy in 2010 and was voted the team's MVP. Coming out of college, Watt was projected to be a first-round pick. At the Combine, scouts had this to say about Watt. Watt is a hard-working, intelligent, relentless player. He uses his hands extremely well to get off blocks, both rushing the passer and against the run. The main knock on Watt was that he wouldn't be able to get off the edge quick enough. With this being said, Watt was determined to prove them wrong. He received a draft score of 8.37.
If you plan on going to any events coming up, make sure you use SeatGeek to purchase your tickets. SeatGeek makes ticket buying easy by giving you a 1 to 10 score and even gives you a view of your seat.
You can use our code JDP at checkout to get $20 off your first purchase. Again, make sure to use SeatGeek when buying tickets and use code JDP at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. Let's get right back to the video.
The Carolina Panthers owned the first overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft. With that pick, they selected quarterback Cam Newton out of Auburn. Newton started his college career off at the University of Florida, where he would remain a backup and only attain 12 passing attempts while with the Gators. Following accusations of a burglary, Newton was suspended from the University of Florida and transferred to Blaine College to continue to keep his dreams of pro football alive. Newton would take his team to the NJCAA National Championship game. That season, he threw for 2,883 yards and 22 touchdowns, also rushing for 655 yards. Newton sparked the interest of D1 schools and was ranked as the #1 quarterback from either high school or junior college. Newton would receive offers from multiple universities, but in the end, he chose Auburn. In his junior year, Newton led the Auburn Tigers to the BCS National Championship game and would win 22-19 over the Oregon Ducks. That season, Newton attained 2,854 yards, 30 passing touchdowns, and 20 rushing touchdowns. He also won the Heisman Trophy Award, was named AP Player of the Year, and the 2010 SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Following this breakout season, Newton decided to forego his senior season and declare for the 2011 NFL Draft. Newton was regarded as a top QB prospect and was projected to go high in the first round. Since Newton's entry into the league, he has been dominant. In his rookie season, Newton broke countless records, including most combined touchdowns for a rookie in the NFL history at 35 and most combined yards by a rookie in NFL history at 4,784 yards. Jumping forward to 2015, Newton led the Carolina Panthers to Super Bowl 50 with a 15-1 record. He would continue to unfortunately lose to the Denver Broncos, but was still named NFL MVP and was named #1 on the NFL's top 100 players list of 2016. Since then, Newton and the Panthers have struggled to make the same impact they had in 2015. Although quarterback Cam Newton is still an incredible athlete, he has struggled to stay healthy due to his tendency to rush and his lack of fear to take a hit. I think the Carolina Panthers got the best pick they could have possibly gotten at the time. They needed a quarterback, and personally, I believe they got the best quarterback available to them. I see Cam coming back to full health this next season and playing at his elite level once again. The Denver Broncos owned the 2nd overall pick. They selected linebacker Von Miller. Miller attended Texas A&M University. As a freshman at defensive end, he was named Freshman All Big 12 after acquiring 22 tackles. He also recorded 2 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. As a sophomore in 2008, Miller saw action in all 12 games, making 44 tackles and leading the team with 3.5 sacks. He made 7.5 tackles for a loss and forced 2 fumbles. His role was more focused on pass coverage as opposed to rushing the quarterback. That being said, he wasn't able to showcase his pass rushing abilities. In the final 7 Big 12 games, he compiled just 8 tackles. As a junior, Miller adopted the role of the jack position. The jack position is a defensive end linebacker hybrid basically, which allowed him to utilize his pass rushing abilities. He enjoyed a breakout season for the Aggies, leading the nation in sacks with 17 and ranking 4th in the nation with 21 tackles for a loss. For his efforts, Von Miller was named First Team All Big 12 at defensive end and was named a First Team All-American. As a senior in 2010, Miller made his 4th and final switch to outside linebacker under Tim DeRuyter's defense. Unfortunately for Miller, early in the season, Miller suffered a high ankle sprain that held him back for the first 6 games. He still managed to have 10.5 sacks and 17.5 tackles for a loss, making First Team All Big 12 honors again. Miller also won the Buck Kiss Award as the nation's top linebacker. He was also named a consensus First Team All-American. Following this, Miller entered the draft being regarded as one of the best 3-4 outside linebackers available in the draft. Miller was taken by the Denver Broncos. Since Miller's entry into the league, he's been nothing but dominant. In his rookie season, he was named to the 2012 Pro Bowl and was named AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. Since then, Miller has been to 2 Super Bowls and was named Super Bowl MVP of one of them. Miller has also shattered multiple franchise records for the Denver Broncos, including franchise sack leader at 98 sacks, and most sacks in a single season. Miller has proven that he is reliable and is a dangerous defensive weapon. The comparison between Miller and Watt is difficult to make. Watt is a phenomenal end rusher, and Miller can do the same when asked. But I think Denver made the right decision and should have no regrets for drafting this defensive monster. The Buffalo Bills had the 3rd pick in the NFL draft. With that pick, they selected Marcel Darius, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. The Bills were in need of a defensive presence to improve their rushing defense, in which they were ranked worst in the league the year before. Darius played at Alabama and had come from a 3-4 scheme, in which the Bills were running, which made him a prime candidate for this pick. In his true freshman season at Alabama, Darius played in 8 games, making his debut in the season-opening 34-10 victory over the Clemson Tigers. As a sophomore, Darius was a key component all season at defensive end for Alabama. He played in 14 games and made 4 starts while serving as the team's top pass rusher and finishing 7th in the SEC in sacks. He acquired 33 total tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, and 6.5 sacks. Darius was also named Defensive MVP of the 2010 BCS National Championship game. Darius made his 2010 season debut against Duke in Week 3 after facing suspension from school. For the season, he totaled 34 total tackles and 4.5 quarterback sacks. In the week following Alabama's Capital One Bowl victory over Michigan State, Darius declared for the 2011 NFL Draft. At the time of the announcement, he was projected as a first-round pick. Darius performed extremely well at the Combine and received a draft score of 8.69. Some scouts even had him potentially going number 1 overall. Since his entry into the league, Darius has been to 2 Pro Bowls. Darius has been very efficient, I won't discredit that. I only have one concern with this player, and it is his struggle to stay out of trouble. This player seems to find himself in trouble all the time, which seems to be a red flag to me. My one note on this player is that he was a great pick, but I feel that if the Bills understood how great Watt was going to be, Marcel wouldn't have gone 3rd overall. Watt would have. Honestly, Watt is the better option in my opinion. With the 4th overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals selected wide receiver AJ Green out of Georgia. Green had a solid freshman season with the Georgia Bulldogs in 2008. Due to his success, he was named SEC Player of the Week. He finished the 2008 season with 56 catches and 963 yards and 8 touchdowns. He led the SEC in receiving yards with the 3rd highest total in Georgia school history. He was named 2nd team All-SEC and Freshman of the Year by the SEC coaches. Green ended his 2009 regular season with 47 catches for 751 yards and 6 touchdowns, despite being injured for the last 3 games of the season. In the 2010 season, Green was suspended for the first 4 games after he admitted to selling his 2009 Independence Bowl jersey for $1,000. Despite missing the first 4 games, Green finished the 2010 season with a team-high 57 catches for 848 yards and 9 touchdowns. Green would then officially declare for the 2011 NFL Draft. He finished his 3 seasons at the University of Georgia with 166 receptions for 2,619 yards and 23 touchdowns. Since his entry into the league, Green has been phenomenal. In his 8 seasons in the league, 7 of them were Pro Bowl seasons, and 6 of them were over 1,000-yard seasons. AJ Green is an absolute offensive monster. Unfortunately for him, he hasn't had the opportunity to shine as much as he probably could have. Green has played for an underwhelming team. The Cincinnati Bengals, out of Green's 8 seasons, have only acquired over 10 wins in 4 of those. Within these past few seasons, they have really experienced a drop-off. I feel as though Green could have attained even more impressive numbers throughout his career if put aside a veteran QB. Overall, I think Green was the right pick for the Bengals. While I still think Watt could have gotten the job done, I think the Bengals got who they needed to increase their offensive threat on the field. Today, Green still resides with the Bengals, where I think he'll continue to play until the end of his career. The Arizona Cardinals owned the 5th overall pick. They selected cornerback Patrick Peterson from LSU. In his freshman season, Peterson was regarded as one of the most decorated high school players to ever attend LSU. Peterson played 13 games as a true freshman. He started the final 4 games of the season, including the Chick-fil-A Bowl win over Georgia Tech. Peterson finished the season with 41 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups, while also adding a forced fumble and a quarterback hurry. In his sophomore season, Peterson emerged as one of the top defensive backs in the Southeastern Conference and was named the SEC's most improved player. In Peterson's junior season, it was announced that Peterson would begin returning punts and kickoffs due to his size, speed, and athleticism. With this added dimension to his game and his dominance as a cornerback, Peterson began being mentioned as a dark horse for the 2010 Heisman Trophy Award. Peterson would continue to solidify his dominance, ending his junior season with 42 tackles and 4 interceptions for 134 yards. On the special teams side of the ball, Peterson had 932 yards returned on kick return and 418 yards on punt return, including 2 touchdowns. Coming out of LSU in 2011, Peterson was a projected first-round pick. He was ranked the top cornerback prospect in the draft by NFL analysts. Since his entry into the league, nothing is new. Peterson is still a dominant force. Not only has Peterson started every game at quarterback since his debut in the league, but he's also started every game as a return man as well. Peterson is an absolute monster who the Cardinals were fortunate to receive. Since being in the league, Peterson has been to a Pro Bowl every season he has been in the league. Peterson still resides on the Arizona Cardinals to this day. He's been a great addition to their roster, and I believe that the choice between Peterson and Watt is very difficult. I personally believe the choice to take Peterson at corner worked out very well for the Cardinals and what they were trying to achieve. I hope to see Peterson healthy and back to his elite form after his suspension, which is set to take place at the beginning of this coming up season. The Atlanta Falcons selected wide receiver Julio Jones from Alabama with the 6th overall pick in the draft. In the first of 3 years with Alabama, Jones quickly became an impact player and a fan favorite under head coach Nick Saban. Jones finished the regular season with 58 receptions, 924 yards, and 4 touchdowns. In 2009, after experiencing what some called a sophomore slump, Jones' production increased during the second half of the 2009 season. Alabama continued through the regular season undefeated at 12-0 and would continue to bring a BCS national championship title back to the Crimson Tide. In Jones' junior season, he acquired an Alabama record 78 catches and 1,133 yards, along with 7 touchdowns. In addition, he had 8 rushing touchdowns for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 5 punt returns for 44 yards and 5 kick returns for 129 yards. Jones was then selected as a first-team All-SEC selection in 2010. Jones decided to forego his senior season of college and declare for the 2011 NFL Draft. Since Jones' debut in the league, he has been one of the best receivers to step foot onto an NFL field. Jones has been nothing but dominant in his time in the NFL. He is a 6-time Pro Bowler and has led the league in receiving yards twice in his career. Jones still resides in the Atlanta Falcons alongside quarterback Matt Ryan. The 7th overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft was owned by the San Francisco 49ers. With this pick, they selected linebacker Aldon Smith out of Missouri. Smith played for the University of Missouri from 2008 to 2010. As a freshman, he started 11 of 13 games at defensive end. He finished the season with 60 tackles and 11 sacks. He was named the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year and first-team Freshman All-American. As a sophomore in 2010, he played in 9 games, recording 48 tackles and 6 sacks. After the season, Smith announced that he would forego his final 2 years of eligibility and entered the 2011 NFL Draft. Although not starting a single game in his rookie season, Smith still finished second to Von Miller in the AP NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year award. In Smith's second season in the league, he was terrific, starting in all 16 games. Smith was phenomenal, acquiring 66 tackles and 19.5 sacks. Due to his efforts that season, he was ranked 7th on the NFL's top 100 players of 2013. Unfortunately, this is where Smith's career starts to fall apart. Smith has struggled to stay out of trouble with the law. Smith has been suspended countless times on drug abuse accusations and an alleged domestic violence incident, thus causing his once flourishing career to shrivel into nothingness. With that being said, Aldon Smith had much potential, but due to his lack of professionalism, I have to say that Watt would have been 100% better of a pick. I am ultimately more disappointed in Smith than anything else. I feel that he could have been amazing if he could have stayed out of trouble. Smith now finds himself without a team due to his legal struggles, and his future in the league has most likely come to an end. The Tennessee Titans had the 8th pick in the NFL draft. They selected quarterback Jake Locker from the University of Washington. Locker was active for 4 seasons with the Huskies. In his redshirt freshman season, Locker was named Pac-10 Freshman of the Year due to breaking records in rushing yards in a season by a quarterback. In 2008, Locker was plagued with injury, which caused a sophomore slump. In the 2009 season, Locker led the unranked Washington Huskies to a 5-7 record. Locker would then release a press release to the Washington Athletic Department indicating his decision to remain in school and play his senior year at Washington. In 2010, Locker closed out his college career with a 19-7 win over the heavily favored Nebraska in the 2010 Holiday Bowl. This win lifted Locker's record to a 16-24 as a starter for the Huskies. Locker would then be selected with the 8th overall pick by the Tennessee Titans. In the 2012 season with the Titans, Locker would win the starting position over Hasselbeck. Locker would start 11 games that season and finish the season with 2,176 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. The years that come for Locker were injury-plagued and would eventually be the ultimate demise of his career as a pro. Locker would announce his retirement in 2015 after 4 years in the league. Locker was 100% a bust. I am astounded that he went 8th overall. His college career was great, but there were even some red flags from the start. Watt was still available at this time and should have definitely been taken over Locker. The fact that Locker was taken over quarterback Andy Dalton, who was taken at the 35th overall pick, and quarterback Colin Kaepernick is astounding to me. The Dallas Cowboys owned the 9th overall pick in the NFL draft. They selected offensive tackle Tyrone Smith from USC. Smith played 3 seasons with the USC Trojans from 2008 to 2010. As a freshman, he was the backup left offensive tackle. He appeared in 10 games. As a sophomore, he started the first of 12 games at right offensive tackle. He earned All Pac-10 honorable mention. As a junior, he appeared in 12 games. Smith was considered one of the top offensive tackle prospects in the 2011 draft. Entering the league as a 20-year-old rookie, Smith was named a starter at the right tackle from the first day. Smith started every game and earned praise for his play, prompting the media to speculate on a possible move to left tackle in the next season. He was named to the NFL All-Rookie team. In the 2014 season, Smith signed an 8-year, $109 million contract extension with the Cowboys, making him the highest paid offensive lineman in the league at the time. He was widely considered one of the top 3 offensive tackles in the league. There was no doubt in my mind that Smith is a beast on the line. He has made 6 Pro Bowls since his debut in the league and has contributed to the dominance of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. The Cowboys were in need of a strong presence to protect the quarterback, and I believe they got that and more. Smith is a great pick for the Cowboys, and they should have 0 regrets for this one. The last and final player taken before Watt was quarterback Blaine Gabbert, who was selected with the 10th overall pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming out of high school, Gabbert was considered a major college recruitment prospect. Gabbert was listed as the highest-ranked pro-style quarterback in the nation. He eventually committed to the University of Missouri. Gabbert had a strong debut in 2009. He achieved the 3rd highest single-season passing total in school history, completing 262 of 445 passes for 3,593 yards and 24 touchdowns. In 2010, Gabbert had 3,186 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 232 rushing yards, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Gabbert would then announce that he would forego his senior season to enter the 2011 NFL Draft. Since his entry in the league, Gabbert has found himself on 4 different NFL teams and has struggled to solidify himself as a starting quarterback. Gabbert has shown flashes of average quarterback material, but other than that, he has been inconsistent while on the field, earning him a career full of backup positions and team shuffling. Jameis Winston. J.J. Watt was selected with the 11th overall pick by the Houston Texans. Since Watt's entry into the league, he has asserted his dominance among defensive players in the league. Watt is an absolute monster who is ruthless on the field. His hunger for winning does not go unnoticed. He has won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, and him winning it again is not totally out of the picture. In his 8 years in the league, Watt has dominated the league on the defensive side of the ball. Not only is he one of the best players, but he's one of the best leaders. Watt is a natural-born leader who can change the momentum of games. Unfortunately, 10 teams passed up on the opportunity to acquire this defensive monster. This next year, Watt returns to the Texans to make another run and potentially be a candidate for this upcoming season's Defensive Player of the Year award. How high do you think Watt ranks among the other defensive ends in the league? Let me know down in the comment section below.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. My name is Jackson.
And my name is Darren, and this is J&D Productions. So if you don't already know what type of videos we basically make videos revolving around sports. We eventually want to work to make this our full-time job, and we're working really hard currently to make great content for you guys.
And if there's anything you can do to help us, please share this video. Tell your friends about it, tell your family about it. Make sure you go share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those above.
All
just media. Go help us grow. We're just trying to grow this channel. We're trying to make better content, and we really appreciate it if you help get the word out about our channel.
And if you guys want to help us out any more than you already have by sharing and watching this video, please go ahead and click that link down in the description for Patreon. If you guys don't know what a Patreon is, it helps us make better content for you guys. And that is strictly what it's for. We don't want to take your money. We don't want to steal your money. We just want to make better content for you guys. We're two broke college students, and we're just trying to make this our full-time gig. So if you have the generosity in your hearts to help us out a little bit more, please click that link down in the description.
But again, if you don't have the money, don't worry about it. We don't have money either. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you go share this video as much as you possibly can. Help us get our name out there. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.